friends, it's been a while. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi. I've been away for probably about a year now, but I am back, and what better way to come back than to bring you the third part of this kitchen makeover. This kitchen is about a year old, which is super exciting, and I learned so much from this project, so I hope you do too. Without further ado, let's get into the video. The very first thing you're going to want to do when making over your kitchen is label everything, and I do mean everything. If you're removing it, make sure it's got some sort of number or name that you know exactly where to put it back, because all of these cabinets, whenever they're removed, they all look alike all of a sudden. After removing all the doors, I sanded it with this really not great sander. Pro tip by Solid Sanders. I went ahead and put down this tarp because I was working in my garage with all of the oils and whatnot on the floor, and I needed extra spaces to put down the doors that had a very light sanding that needed to be resanded, and I will show you why in a minute. I'm upset. I have one door left to sand, and my sander broke. One door. Dear Lord. All right, well, to the store I go, I guess. That sander dying was actually a really good thing for me. I went to the store and got a new sander, and as you can see, this is scuffed up already, but in just a moment, you'll see how I use this 80 grit with a brand new sander, and it goes from being scuffed up to actually taking off some of the stain, which was perfect. I scraped off all those little goopy things, those little stoppers, and I did purchase some new ones that I put on after everything was repainted. But as you can see, I did the front and the back. The little crevices were a little difficult to get into, but you just gotta make it work. Vegetable. Spray. This. Honestly, I was going to edit out that low quality audio, but editing me found it funny, and it's exactly what I did. I then took a sanding block and got all of the crevices and some afterwash to clean off all the gunk. Rachel Metz has a fabulous video of how to clean cabinets and get rid of the stains and everything from about a year and a half ago, so go check it out if you'd like to learn more about the process I used. After my doors were cleaned, I went in with a primer. I decided to spray the primer and the paint, and this is where my warning of make sure to do this when it's higher than like 40 degrees came into play. My spray was super splotchy because of the fact that it was so cold, so it was actually freezing in there, and it just was not a consistent spray at all. This, friends, is why you do this in a warmer month. My gun is so frozen that I'm getting super splotchy paint. And I could just roll this out. I might have to. But honestly, like, you get such a cleaner spray. Oh, excuse the water, I'm sorry. You get such a cleaner spray than you do brush stroke. All right, I was able to clean out my sprayer nozzle just a little bit to get what was drying off, and I did a quick second coat. It's so much better. So yeah, so I'm not angry about this. Still not great, but it's better. I initially wanted to go with white cabinets. However, the white that I was using was pulling really yellow and I couldn't figure out a way to correct it. So I went with this really pretty blue-gray from Benjamin Moore. I'll link the name down below. I wasn't going to be removing the bases of the cabinet, so I just cleaned them out, cleaned them with a heavy-duty cleaner, and then sanded them. I did decide to prep to spray, and spraying was not really the best decision. I should have just rolled everything except for the top piece and just sprayed the top, because there is a lot of intricate design that you can't really see in that crown molding. But part of the fun of DIYing is learning from your experiences, and I did all of this prep work and it wasn't quite correct. I've learned that there are other materials that you should be using to prep your cabinets in order to spray them. I just didn't have that knowledge at the time. I moved on to sanding everything just to give my primer and paint a place to stick, and moved forward with priming the cabinets. Cardboard is the answer. That is what I'm going with. Cardboard is it, friends. As I mentioned, I thought that I prepped everything and masked everything well. However, I quickly learned that the power of my spray gun was overpowering my poor tape. So I used this piece of cardboard to help kind of keep the paint from going inside the cabinets and going other places that I did not want it to go. Eventually, I got really fed up with the plastic flying around all over the place while I was spraying, so I just used the cardboard. I unmasked everything and used the cardboard to help guide me. I learned that I should have purchased the painter's tape that has the plastic inside where you can just unfold everything. That would have helped me tremendously, as well as some stronger and better tape. But those are just a few pro tips that I've learned after the fact. If you are looking to paint your cabinets, those are a couple things to look into. Alright, you guys, here's the current situation. I cleaned up all of the paint splatter that was inside, and I hung up these little thingies, the little hinges, put everything back in this cabinet so that way I can just hang up the door soon. This did the same exact thing, except I don't have the door ready yet. And if you look into there, you can definitely still see that my cleaning is not perfect, but this is the rest of the situation that I have happening. I wised up and I said, I'm just gonna tape the fronts of these so that I don't have to scrub them like I did with those. But I'm going a step further, and I know what you're thinking. You're like, Patsy, why don't you just remove them from the cabinets? And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm gonna pop these out, and then I'm going to finish painting, and then I will put everything back in, so that way I don't have to clean as much as I did. Same thing here, and then I will just put a plastic wrap on all of this stuff and finalize this before I put the doors back on. I did get really frustrated with the plastic that I was using. Again, it was a live and learn moment, but the next day I went to Benjamin Moore and grabbed this little spatula that's usually used for drywall, and I used this in place of my cardboard. So I used it to block off areas where I was painting. I have projects to finish, buddy. I have to finish painting. I cannot sit with you all day. Another thing that I would really recommend if you are redoing your kitchen is having some sort of order to how you paint your doors. So that way, whenever they go up, they look at least a little bit cohesive and not all over the place like this. This was quite a mess to look at. When I primed the bottom piece of my cabinet, I used again this plastic. Did not do a great job of covering my countertops, but I primed and painted this lower section, and this was the last section that I had to paint. Last door. Painting the door was a very last second decision, but honestly it worked and it feels like it needed it. I spray painted it super quickly with just a little bit of paint that I had left in the can because Jared was gone and I wanted that initial, oh my gosh, we have a black door, to set in whenever he got back from the gym. But once he did get home, I went to the store, got a new can of paint, and made sure that everything was nice and smooth and painted well and not splotchy at all. These brass hinges were so dirty, so I went in and cleaned them with a heavy duty cleaner, scraped the previous paint off of them, and made them nice and new again. And since they were off the door already, I decided to spray paint them black before I put the door back together. There was a pendant light over the sink, which was fine, but I wasn't a big fan of it, so I drilled out a hole big enough for a recessed light, hooked up the recessed light, and installed it here instead. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I see you all next time for another DIY.